As you know, we've been going around essentially having consultations in respect of the teachers and the pay rise that they have been receiving in respect of the overall civil service reform. So the civil service reform is not only restricted specifically to the individual ministries themselves, but as you know, government is quite keen to ensure that all employees in Fiji actually get the right salary paid. So it includes also state-owned enterprises. As you've seen in some of the other organizations, today we have Fiji Airways where the staff actually get a profit-sharing formula in which they get an annual payment out because of profit-sharing. So today, of course, we are here to announce the fact that the staff of Fiji Rice is actually getting an increment in their pay. This is the second time within the span of 3 years that they're getting an increase in their pay. As has been highlighted by the chairman, that there were numerous challenges, what was then called Fiji Rice Ltd. And as you can see, it's part of the modernization. It's no longer called Rewa Rice, it's called Fiji Rice. You obviously can't call it Rewa Rice, the rice is not from Rewa. It's actually from Vanuatu. You also can't call it Vanuatu rice because some of the rice may actually come from Rewa. So the idea of Fiji Rice, and the reason why the company actually has the rice is called Fiji Rice, is because it's actually owned by government. You know, the name Fiji is essentially related to the country itself, and the trademark can only be owned by state-owned enterprises of the Fijian government itself. So with these reforms, as you know, in the budget we've also announced $1 million in petty payments to be able to be given to farmers through the purchase of the rice from them, essentially, the paddy. Similarly, we've also got a budget of in excess of $200,000 directly to go towards Fiji Rice Ltd. What that does is build the capacity, as announced by the chairman. It also improves the quality of the equipment, etc. in the business. The profits compared to the previous year has gone up by about in excess of $300,000. So a lot of opportunities. A lot of Fijians eat rice. A lot of them, of course, Fiji Rice also has to compete with imported rice from offshore. So there's also fairly, tangible competition that does exist. So we'd like to, of course, take this opportunity firstly to thank all the staff. We know that some of them have been there for a few years, and some of them have actually been on salaries or hourly rates. They weren't necessarily very attractive, but they've labored with the company. They've now had a pay rise only about 2 years ago. Now they are getting another pay rise. The first one, we understand, is on average is about 10%. And now they're getting an average slightly in excess of about 5%. So some, of course, are getting slightly higher than that, depending on what scale they are. So the idea is to be able to pay people the market rate, or what's available in the market, what's paid in other organizations, and to be able to be comparable to that. Similarly, as we've done with the job evaluation exercise, and also the remuneration exercise we've done with the civil servants, that's what we have done now. And of course, this means also bringing about other tangible benefits. So, for example, things like human resources capacity building, training, making sure that other terms and conditions are also met where you provide a good working environment. As we've seen that, we just announced 2 days ago that, for example, meal allowance for civil servants is going up from $9 to $20. Now, this is, of course, taking into account the fact that people do travel to towns and cities where the meal cost is actually quite expensive. So similarly, we expect that these kind of changes to also take place in the other state-owned enterprises. They'll have to set their own rates that is applicable to them too, but nonetheless it has to be market-based. It's very important. If we look after our staff, if we provide them right environment, it's not just about hourly rates or the wages themselves, the right working environment, then people will feel motivated to actually work. We'll want to actually progress, and we need to be able to provide specific career paths for them. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the chairman. As you know, the chairman was appointed only a few years ago. Within that span of time, he's been able to make a number of changes, a lot of positive changes. He brings with him a particular level of energy and vitality that is very critical to ensure that a company that was actually a fledgling company, which is Rewa Rice, and to bring it up to this particular level that it has achieved. And we believe with his team, his management team, and his board members, Fiji Rice, of course, can do better. So thank you very much for the staff. I can officially give the letter of approval. The ministry has approved the pay rise for the staff. And I have the pleasure in giving that to the chairman of Fiji Rice Ltd. Thank you very much. Good night.